1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Test micro. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test micro. Je continue de parler. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Paris-Bordeaux-Le Mans. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sound check. Sound check. Ça. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sound check. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's good? Adil, can you come here? Adjust the light.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Un, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, Paris-Bordeaux-Le Mans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sound check. Sound check. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sound check. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Test, 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 test. Sound check, sound check, sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sound check, sound check. Okay. For me, it's fine. You want me to come here?
Test 1, 2, 2.
Good.
Test, test, test. Test 1, 2, 3. Şu feedback yapıyor. Feedback yapıyordu. Fon yapıyordu. Test 1 200. Test 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 test. Test 1 1 1. Test test test. Test 1 200. 1 2 3. Test test test.
I have no clue.
Test test
Okay, we speak from here.
test. 1 1 1 1 1. 1 1 1 1 1 1. Test test test. Test 1 200. Şu çalış 1 1. Bu yok. Test test tamam. Okey tamam. Test 1 200. Test 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 test. Bu biraz mesela daha fazla. Test 1 2 3. Test test test. Test 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 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Şu bir şu bir. Bak şu çok sıkıyor, bu az sıkıyor. 1 1 1 1.
Hey, 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 şey, Bu dışa bakıyor bir tanesi içindeki şeyin kapsülü. Ondan öyle bırak yaptım onu. Bunları sıkmak lazım.
Test test test. Test
Hey,
1 2 3 4 5. Test 1 2.
Check. Hey,
Test test. Mikrofon hazır.
Was a year of instability, a year of extremes. It's said to be the hottest year on record. The challenge feels huge, yet solutions exist. Across cities, regions, businesses, schools, and community organizations.
maybe. Like, yeah. Thank you.
2024 was a year of instability, a year of extremes. It's set to be the hottest year on record. The challenge feels huge, yet solutions exist. Across cities, regions, businesses, schools, and community organizations the world over, bold climate action is underway in big and small but significant ways. Leaders of all kinds are stepping up and rising to the challenge. There's a groundswell of momentum. Climate action is possible, popular, and profitable. Thanks to the collaboration of organizations across the world, we know what is needed to tackle the climate crisis at speed and scale across oceans, regions, and industries. We now know where we need to go next, together, to build a healthy, resilient, prosperous, peaceful world for all of us and our children, to reach our clear collective climate goals by 2030. So, whoever you are, wherever you're from, find out more about the partners and impact makers ready to collaborate and the tools already available to build ambitious national plans and take bold climate action today. Because tomorrow is too late.
So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us. I think that this is one of those events that I'm mostly excited about because I've been with LinkedIn at New York Climate Week and I've seen the debate there. And it's great to see it happening in Baku at COP29. And it's great to see the whole climate community here today because today is the Human Development Day at COP. And we will be speaking about green skills and importance of investing in green skills. So how do we ensure that people, their skills, their knowledge, and their potential are at the center of climate action? The world is moving quickly. Countries have pledged to triple renewable energy capacity by 2030, and businesses are advancing net zero plans. These commitments reflect the urgency of the climate crisis and the scale of transformation required. Yet these ambitions depend on the critical factor, people. Without skilled individuals, these ambitions cannot be realized. Every wind turbine installed, every solar panel maintained, and every green innovation developed relies on individuals with the knowledge and their tools to deliver. The renewables energy sector already supports over 16 million jobs worldwide, but this number will need to rise significantly to meet demand. Addressing this need presents both challenges and opportunities. While mass education about climate is an important foundation for success, our most exciting goal should be to unlock and direct the creativity and inventiveness of humans to overcome implications of the climate change. We as civilizations face challenges many times during history, and technological breakthroughs helped us move next stage of our development many times. Information technologies and its trendy child, artificial intelligence, give us enormous leverage to speed up green transition. Often we hear that this argument that artificial intelligence will replace humans. It might, we'll see, but artificial intelligence is in fact a tool to amplify human creativity, and we should use it to change the way we produce and consume, which is the essence of green agenda. What we need to achieve this? A global environment which stimulates and incentivizes green creativity and skills through access to green financing for all geographies and businesses of all sizes. We need to create an efficient mechanism for development and usage of green technologies and know-hows. We need to make sure that access green technologies are not a barrier for growth, but a path to go. That government and large corporations do not use them and red tape to sideline SMEs and startups. Access to green technologies is not a barrier. LinkedIn's Green Skill Report highlights the significant gender gap in access to green skills, which create barriers to both participation and opportunity. Expanding access to training and education will not only build the workforce we need, but also ensure that it is diverse and inclusive, enabling everyone to contribute and benefit. Barriers extend beyond individuals to organizations. SMEs, which account for 90% of businesses and around 70% of global employment, are the backbone of economies worldwide and critical to the net zero transition. They are often led by women, youth, and indigenous peoples, key voices in shaping equitable climate solutions. However, SMEs are disproportionately vulnerable to climate risks, with 66% in emerging markets already reporting impacts from climate change. This is why campaigns like climate proofing SMEs are so crucial. Earlier this year, we launched the initiative to provide SMEs with tools, resources, and networks needed to adapt and innovate and thrive. And we already work with more than 40 collaborators on that. The focus of the empowering people and communities is also reflected in our Impact Makers campaign, which celebrates individuals driving meaningful change. I would like to mention a couple of them. I don't know if they are in the room. I hope they are. But for example, Sela Bogonko. It's wonderful what she's doing. Her work on Jacob's Ladder Africa, creating opportunities for youth throughout green jobs and climate entrepreneurship, is inspiring and embodies the transformative power of SMEs. For those who haven't seen it yet, Sella's portrait is displayed here at COP as part of campaign, alongside other showcasing extraordinary stories of leadership and innovation. You might have also seen Pablo Castellanos Ramelli, who is advancing a circular economy in Colombia by repurposing electric vehicle batteries, creating jobs and reducing waste. Or Mariam Bello, co-founder of Parker Mobile Clinic in Nigeria. Mariam's mobile health hubs and telemedicine services are bridging healthcare gaps in flood-prone regions, providing that medical care to underdeserved communities and showcasing the critical intersection of climate resilience and human health. This example, celebrated in the Impact Makers campaign, remind us of the transformative power of skills and determination in turning ideas into action. Today, we will have very interesting debate, and I would like to thank everyone that came, and I would like to ask you to stay till the end because it's going to be really fun. And I would like to really thank our debaters for your work and for your enthusiasm and inspiration. And now I would like to give a floor to my dear colleague from our Action Agenda team, Elmar Malim, who will be speaking about our presidency's initiatives in this regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nigar Hanım, for this excellent idea to organize such interesting debate. I would like welcome all of you today at this very important event. We have first ever Human Development Day in the COP history. And this morning, we launched two important initiatives within the framework of Baku Initiative on Human Development for Climate Resilience. We adopted joint statement by 8 UN agencies, and namely UNESCO, WHO, ILO, and other UN agencies, by 3 multilateral development banks, ADB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and also by 3 funds, Global Fund, Green Climate Fund, Adaptation Fund, a very important joint statement on Baku Initiative on Climate, or Baku Initiative on Human Development for Climate Resilience. At the same time, we adopted and endorsed Baku Guiding Principles on Human Development for Climate Resilience. Why we selected this topic? Because human capital is very important from mitigation and also from adaptation point of view. From mitigation point of view, human capital can find climate solutions, can create climate solutions. On adaptation point of view, human capital, healthy and educated human capital, can easily adapt to new conditions, can easily find new job. That's why we selected this topic, and at the same time, we tried to tackle intersectoral synergy between education, between health, between jobs, green skills, and also concentrated on children and youth topic. In the process of designing of our initiatives, Action Agenda team, as Action Agenda initiatives team, we had multi-stakeholderal consultations. We tried to make it maximum inclusive and maximum transparent process. And during these consultations, we had consultations not only with parties, but also non-party stakeholders. We had consultations with civil society, with think tanks, with multilateral development banks, international organizations, all actors. And during these consultations, we were informed about the concerns on multi-sectoral approach particularly, because we had in previous COPs climate and health topic, climate and education topic, but it was not in a holistic way addressing of this issue. That's why Human Development for Climate Resilience address this issue in a holistic way. Also, it was some proposals and comments to ensure complementarity and continuity of all initiatives of COP presidencies. That's why just 1 hour ago, we signed an important document, letter of intent. We established COP presidencies, Baku COP presidencies coalition on climate and health between 5 COP presidencies, between UK, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Azerbaijan, and Brazil to continue these topics. And I believe that human development topic also should continue. We created this legacy today in Baku, but I hope and I believe we should to continue this topic, to take to COP to future COPs, and to address this issue. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude to our high-level champion for organizing this important debate on green skills and also on jobs, which is indeed very important. And it's not only important from social and from educational point of view, but it's also very important from economic point of view, because particularly in developing countries, where we have not developed human capital, we cannot to attract investments. And take into account that during this green transition process, we need to ensure green and just transition. We need also green skills to ensure and to facilitate, to accelerate this green transition and attract climate FDI to developing countries. Once again, I would like to welcome all of you in Baku and also wish very successful debates.
Thank you, Elmar. Thank you, Nigar, for those inspiring words and for setting the scene without letting out too much. I think there's still enough to debate. And thank you for the high-level champion to include a debate in your high-level champion special event program. Hello, everyone. I am Sophie Lambin. I'm the founder and CEO of Kite Insight and of the Climate School, and I'm the curator of this debate. I'm joined by my brilliant co-moderator and partner in crime, Ephraim Beiser, who is the head of sustainability and workforce policy partnerships at LinkedIn. And I'm delighted to do this again with you, Ephraim. Welcome.
Thanks,
So,
Sophie.
to echo Nigar's comments, we really want to thank you for being here, for taking time in what is a very, very busy program, and to participate in what promises to be a very compelling and hopefully slightly competitive debate on whether investing in skills is, in fact, the climate commitment that really counts. Now, before I ask Ephraim to set the scene for us, let me make clear that this format will feel quite different. And this is intentional. It is, in fact, a debate, which means that you have debaters that argue on the for side and debaters that argue on the against side. We also have very esteemed jury at the front, very intimidating. And of course, the audience, you are absolutely critical in making this a success. Now, the motion we will debate is clearly not a true statement. It is a provocation. Of course, we all agree that skills are important in the climate crisis. But the question is, are they the climate commitments that count? And if so, why? This format is really designed to bring complex and fraught topic to the fore. It is an invitation to all of you, and us included, to listen deeply and to disagree agreeably. Ultimately, it's about better understanding the other side, revealing important nuances, and importantly, carving out the way forward. I don't need to tell you that climate action is a messy business, riddled with blind spots, and we are embracing this. And we hope that such a debate will expose these tensions in a constructive way. I will say that many times, and Nigar already said it, but I'm really grateful to our debaters for lending their voice and expertise to this exercise. Ephraim, do you want to set it up for us?
Absolutely. You know, I think you heard it from Nigar and Elmar. This is a historic day. You all are a part of history. The first ever Human Development Day at a COP. The first ever day focused on skills and how to help make sure we have a workforce that can deliver on these critical moments. So, look, I agree with Sophie that this is one of the key formats for which we can reveal these tensions and critical tensions, because there's a lot of big decisions that we need to make. We need to understand how we can have a more impactful climate action, and especially do that in a way that brings sectors together. So the question, and by the way, this is the third time we're doing this debate. And the reason we're doing it this way is because this is the format to bring out these tensions. We all, and you all, this is not your typical panel. This is not a panel with a typewriter where we ask a question, it goes down the line, and it goes back. This is interactive. We're going to need all of you to help explore this topic with us. But why is this topic important to LinkedIn? Why are we working together with a high-level champion and Sophie to have this conversation? Just the other week, we published LinkedIn's 2024 Green Skills Report, which showed that green skills, demand for green skills is growing twice as fast as supply. And look, well, I think it's safe to say that employer demand is a lagging indicator of planetary need. We know there's also immense opportunity, economic opportunity for those workers who can be part of the climate transition if only they have the skills to be there. We know that the LinkedIn hiring rate, it's a measure of economic trend for workers with green skills, so many of you, is 55% higher for those workers and for the workforce overall. We are ecstatic that the COP presidency and the high-level champion have said this is a key topic for this COP. And that I agree with Elmar, this cannot be the only time that this happens. This has to be something that goes on and on. But ultimately, this is a crucial topic that warrants debate because it's not a given about what those investments are really going to look like.
Thank you, Ephraim. Now, you might think that by virtue of LinkedIn's stance on green skills, Ephraim is biased sitting there on the foresight. We will both be neutral facilitators of this debate. However, I will support the against team on this occasion.
Well,
now,
I won't hold that against you.
So, as you can imagine, these debates call for a powerful mix of eloquence, intellectual agility, empathy, even courage, I would say. So our debaters have bravely agreed to lend their mind and their expertise to this question. And in doing so, they're most certainly going to be beyond their own personal conviction for the sake of the debate, for the sake of hopefully enlightening you, the audience. What I mean to say by that is that we're trying to create a safe space for those debaters to push the argument further, which can feel risky. So they will need all your encouragement throughout the debate. So please feel free to whoop and yay and clap whenever they make a good point, because we need you and them to really lean into the theatrics of the moments. I know we are all very serious people, but I think we like a little bit of drama from time to time. And this is the day, #SeriousFun, to doing so, right, Ephraim?
Absolutely. But I think it's time to move on from all the philosophical stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and get into like how this actually is going to work. So listen up. Each of the debaters will have 3 minutes. For-side will go. For-side will stay up here. And the against side will go. And that will happen for 3 rounds. We'll be watching the clock. They will not have a second over 3 minutes.
The clock is there. Yeah.
There's the clock right there. And after they've all spoken, our very intimidating panel of the jury is here sitting up front. We have Melanie Larkins from LinkedIn. We have Dr. Rebecca Shirley from WRI, Hanna Hakarainen from Finland, and Joshua Ampansam. We are from the Youth Climate Justice Fund. Yeah, that's an invitation to practice the clapping and the whooping we need you to do the whole time. And this jury is not asked to tell you who won the debate, but rather to present a few challenges and help pull out the nuances in some of the arguments that we hear. Our goal tonight is to pull across the tension in this debate, in this motion. They're there to help the debaters see things they may have missed or failed to consider. So debaters, notes for you, take good notes of the guidance and remarks that the jury share, because after they give you your feedback, you'll have a few minutes to confer to develop your closing argument.
At this point, the gloves comes off. The emotion runs really high, and each team will have exactly 1.5 minutes to drive the point home and clinch the victory. Audience, then that's you who will come to vote. And that's very important because we are not asked to vote based on your personal opinion, but on the team that has done the best job arguing for their case, whether through the creativity of their case, the team spirit, the arguments, obviously, occasionally as well. In order to vote the winning team, we'll use a very sophisticated technology, net zero methodology called a clapometer. So be ready to practice on this one. So the key point here is we are here to reward the quality of the argumentation, not your personal opinion.
Let's like make sure everybody's ready for this. So when I say climate, you say action. Climate, climate. When I say climate, you say jobs. Climate. Climate. All right, that's good. See, it's already feeling a little bit different than, all right. Now look, let's see what the debaters have, what they're up against. If you agree with the motion that investing in skills is the commitment that matters, raise your hand. Those are your 4 debaters, in case you were wondering. And if you disagree with the motion that investing in skills is the motion, the investment that matters, raise your hand. All right.
Well, you'll be surprised.
Yeah,
We have strong harder audience than that in the past, so let's be ready.
Anyone undecided?
Yeah, we can have
the jury. Good, the jury. This is good. They're going to be unbiased. This is good.
A few swing states still. We ready to go?
I think we're ready.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to ask all the speakers on the 4 side to come join me on this side of the stage. We have an amazing lineup. Dr. Elizabeth Steer, Sela Baganko, and Emma Cox. Come on up.
And on the against side, I'd like to invite Dr. Bohani Soko, Dane D'Souza, and Dr. Kirsten Dunlop. Please join me in welcoming them. You have no idea how much magic has gone behind the scene in the last 2 hours. We have 1 debater who fell sick, 1 jury members who couldn't come. We've been replaced by 2. So a special thank you for all of you who stepped in at the last minute. So we're now going to get started with our first round of debaters.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Can we have the 4 sides? Lisbeth Steer to come today.
Yeah.
Lisbeth is Senior Advisor at Systemic, amongst many other things. And on the against side, can we have sorry. This is Sustainability Lead at Canon EMEA. All right, that's correct. So
yes.
When you're ready.
Hello, everyone. We gathered here today to solve the issue of climate change. I have 2 questions for you. Are you planning to put money on the table? Are you planning to put a new technology on the table? I imagine the answer to both of these questions is no. What we brought here today are our brains, our skills, and our experience. Yet, in the world of climate action, we spend almost all our time talking about money and technology. These are essential, but they will be quite ineffective if we don't have the skills people required to act on them. History agrees skills are the bedrock of who we are as human beings. Skills such as hunting and tool making were critical for early survival. Skills in planting and harvesting led to the agricultural revolution. Literacy and numeracy led to the rise in administration, trade, governance, and nation states. And it's skills that ushered in the Industrial Revolution and the knowledge economy that we know today. Without skills, as the climate commitment, this bold climate transformation we talk about will fail. There are two big reasons why. First, the transition will lead to job losses, and without giving people new skills and jobs, the transition will fail on moral and political grounds. Not investing in reskilling people who are losing their jobs is morally wrong and politically naive. If people do not address these social costs, we will fail in our ambitions. We saw this in the uprising of the Gilets jaunes in France, the farmers' protests in the Netherlands, and the delays in South Africa's just transition. Second, the green economy requires a skilled workforce, and skilled workers will also be the drivers of a prosperous and green future. Skills are needed from PhDs in biochemistry and AI to poor farmers having the skills to change their farming practices. But we face a major skills gap. A general one and a specific one. The general skills gap is that by 2030, on current trends, half of the young people graduating from their education will not have the skills they require for the workforce. The more specific problem is that the ILO projects that we will have 100 million extra jobs that need skills to be filled. And beyond the formal sector, we have 1 billion people in agriculture that also will need to change their ways in order
5 seconds.
Investing in skills and job creation isn't just a matter of filling job vacancies. It's not about charity. It's a precondition for green growth and economic transformation.
That's time.
Let's make this commitment count.
All right.
Yeah.
Lisbeth, stay up there, stay up there. All right.
Well done, Lisbeth. So feel free to remember, whoop, yay, clap, and we will make sure they are not penalized by the time loss. So against the motion that investing in skill is the climate commitment that counts.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's go 3 seconds. No.
it's
Can you
been
go
a long
back?
time.
We just
Come
don't
on.
want to lose
We don't-
3 seconds.
Yeah, those are important 4 seconds.
Ready?
Isawege, Ejera Tanse, Nenda Junhomo. What it means is you see things from the perspective your privilege affords you. On the flip side, how much commitment you have to address issues or your ability to address challenges depends on or stops where your influence ends. It stops where your ability to afford influence or ability to afford resources ends. The motion is assuming that we invest in skills. Investing in skills alone will actually make a difference. Now, what happens in that time gap between investing in skills and society experiencing the worst impacts of climate change? What happens then? How can an investment in skills alone be the investment or the commitment that counts when the preconditions and infrastructures that are needed to ensure that those skills actually make a difference are not in place? A focus on skills alone, I argue, is an elitist privilege and a luxury belief by the global north. Why, you ask? One, because you already have your developed economies. Two, the technology that can make a difference to climate change resides in the global north. Three, the ability to change market framework and influence cost of capital resides in the global north. I contend that instead we should be talking about infrastructure. We should be talking about things like government will and the ability for government to send strong signals that climate change is what we are interested in and invested in moving forward. I contend that we should be looking at issues around market framework. Take, for example, and I also contend that we already have capital in place. Witness the brain drain, significant brain drain in Africa, movement from people, graduates and new hires from Africa to the West in search of opportunities. What happens to SMEs and individuals in a place like Nigeria who depend on fossil fuel, where they have to run generators 18 to 14 hours a day just to make a living? I argue that they need solar panels as opposed to green skills. So these are the things we need to be looking at as a society instead of just focusing on green skills. We need government leadership. We need investment in infrastructure. We need low cost of capital. We need government to tackle poverty and health. And these things will actually go a long way in making these changes happen as opposed to more green skills. That's my argument, and thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Well done.
Well done.
That was impeccable timing.
That was
Very well. Very well.
perfect timing. You can go back.
You can,
Well
yeah,
done.
now you can sit down. So Sophie,
What do you say?
skills are the solution to everything, right?
Hold on. I think I heard green skills is an elitist privilege. We need to invest in infrastructure to allow the skill to emerge first.
Whatever you say. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
next.
in that case, let's bring up our second pair of debaters. We have Sela Bagonko, co-founder and CEO of Jacob's Ladder, and Dr. Kirsten Dunlop, CEO. Instead, we have Dane D'Souza, Senior Policy Advisor for Energy Management at the Métis National Council.
And I'm not trying to bias anything, but Dane just stepped in an hour ago. So please.
Yeah, let's hear it for Dan.
So most of us flew here. And I'm guessing you took a flight, from your home country to Baku. Now imagine with me if on your flight back, you get into this modern aircraft because the airline has decided to upgrade its aircraft, has the latest technology and great food on board. And then just at the point of takeoff, the pilot mentions that, by the way, he's the best they've got in the sense that this is the first time that he's actually flying. And not just flying that particular aircraft, but flying at all. And that he's the best from the pool that they had. Now, those arguing that skills are not important, that's a flight that you'll be having on your way back home. My position is that in the event that you do go for that kind of notion, I think it's suicidal, and that's what they're positing. Dr. Johannes, my Nigerian sister, how can you betray us on this platform? According to LinkedIn, 50% of the green jobs that will be there by 2050 will actually lack the qualified candidates required to take up those jobs. In Africa, this percentage is much higher. Now, the same continent, according to the World Bank, will be home to according to the World Bank, 1 in every 4 people in the world will be actually African by 2050. The same time, according to the statistics of LinkedIn. That means that a quarter of the pool of the global future talent will be coming from Africa. The same continent that's being affected more adversely by the effects of climate change. And yet, not much skilling is happening. It's a general risk, not just to Africa, but to the whole world. In my view, investing in climate skills is not just a good to have. It's about climate justice. It's about ensuring that we have the best mitigation strategy as a globe and not just the continent. And in conclusion, I'm glad that this debate is coming on the second week of COP, because by now, all of us have been to the panels, to the meetings, to the conferences, we've read the reports. There's nothing, in my view, significantly different in terms of rhetoric that's coming out of COP, generally speaking. And yet, many people are already planning for the other COP, for the next COP in Brazil. I beg to wonder, why is it that even after we get declarations like the loss and damage fund, like the facing down or eliminating fossil fuels, how come we don't translate that to action? I posit to you today that perhaps it's because long after the conversations are held and the decisions are made and the policies are passed, you still need the workforce to implement those policies and the projects on the ground. And until that happens, it will not change. So in my view, skills are the bridge between climate rhetoric and climate action.
Woo!
Tanchi Kia, my name is Dane D'Souza. I'm a citizen of the Métis Nation of Alberta. For those of you who do not know who the Métis are, we are Indigenous peoples from what is currently known as Canada, and we walk in two worlds. We walk in a world that is Indigenous and a world that is settler European. And I think the very lens in which you have approached this debate is what blinds you from the actual solutions at hand. You're looking with only one eye. We do not need a better plane. We need economies that better serve the reciprocal relationship of stewardship that we as human beings have with our environment. Let's hear a little bit more of that. My people, my ancestors are no strangers to the skill development and transitions that have been imposed upon us. 200 years ago, Sir John A. Macdonald said, to kill the Indian, we must kill the Indian in the child. And we were sent to residential schools to have our skills modified to better serve the colonial economies that are further imposed not only on my people, but on your people as well, as being from Kenya. All this to say, we're not talking about skills of resilience and adaptation in this conversation. We're talking about skills of convenience and comfort that enable the global north and urbanized populations to continue economies that are based upon infinite growth, infinite extraction, and further pulling a divide between human beings and our natural environments. Last year, the wildfires in Canada put more carbon into the atmosphere than the entire global airline industry combined. Those fires were not caused by climate change. They were caused by colonialism. They were caused by removing my people and our skills from the lands that we steward and the fires that we steward our land with. Those skills and that knowledge that we have, they were removed from those lands, and now it is to the detriment of every human being on this planet. And when we talk about skill transition, we're continuing to talk about taking people out of nature, out of rural communities, and forcing them to live with an urbanized reality. We're not talking about jobs that help people to get out on the land and connect to the natural environment, to monitor it, to be a part of it, to understand the rhythms of landscape-based solutions that are the only climate solutions. There is no global climate solution. We're here to talk about a finance climate or a COP. What good is that finance for if it does not enable landscape-level solutions with global impacts? To finish, we're lying to ourselves if we continue to develop our skills at an entitled attitude of dominion over the land, as opposed to recognizing the responsibility of the gift of stewardship.
Woo! Well done.
All right. Well done.
It's
Well done.
hotting up, huh?
So skills are the pathway from climate rhetoric to climate action, right?
Right. I heard something different. We need to invest in communities that have been steward of our land forever. I think it's hotting up, and I love the drama that is coming out in those contributions. Thank you to both of you. Well done. So next and last, but by no means least, so on the fourth side, we have Emma Cox. Emma is a global leader for climate at PwC, and Dr. Kirsten Dunlop, who is the CEO of Climate Kick. Are we ready? Yeah, Pin, very important, the pen. You won't have time to write a lot in 3 minutes, but you never know. All right, ready to go?
Ready to go. So I'm psyching her out. She's got her pen. So look, we've heard arguments for and against here. But I am telling you that without skills, this transition to a new, greener, cleaner, fairer future that listens to Indigenous people and local communities, that lives in harmony with nature, will not happen, because half the population will be left out of that skills transition unless we empower people all around the globe to make the decisions that matter. This is not an elitist argument, it's an inclusive argument. Skills will drive prosperity for the future. We have a choice how we make that growth happen. We can have the economic model of the past, or we can have the economic model of the future that listens to nature, that lives in harmony, that drives a future that we want to live in, but only if we bring everybody along with the skills that are needed. Skills can address inequality. We've heard from my esteemed colleagues how so many young people and so many people in Africa live without those basic skills and education that will enable them to have the jobs that we need for the future. Skills come first. We've seen it through history. We outcompeted the Neanderthals because we thought how to use our skills, our knowledge. We transmitted that around the globe. We used our powers of behavior and communication throughout history. That's what's made a difference. We've heard about the revolutions of the past. Now, some of them have led to the chaos that we have today. But things like writing, the power of communication, why should so many people around the globe not have that access to basic education to give them the voice that my learned opponent was talking about? So, we stand here, I would say, faced with the biggest threat humanity has ever faced, climate change. I put it to you, members of the audience, that it is only the collective skills of current and future generations that will be able to address this challenge. So I think we need a skills-first approach. We need the levers of finance and technology and AI and all these other things, but if we don't have the skills, we will not get there. I put to you in the last few seconds, Archimedes, a Greek philosopher, who said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum to place it on, and I shall move the world." So, ladies and gentlemen, let's put the people of the world with the skills they need on that lever and push down on it collectively to drive the future that we need for climate action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma. I have spent most of my professional career arguing for the importance of skills and the critical importance of human development, so I don't need to be convinced that that is absolutely essential, but I do think we need to be careful what we wish for. And this is where nuance and language really, really counts. Skills are not equivalent to human development. And we need so much more than skills. Indeed, most of what we need to do is unlearn what it is that we have based our world upon, especially in the world we have now. To stop fossil fuel subsidies, we don't need skills, we need courage, courage to act. And I put it to you, if we invest in skills now, because language matters, investing in skills is the climate commitment that counts. We are going to invest in the infrastructure of a skills development that defines skills in terms of productivity. This is about investment in profit, people in a machine employed to make the economy run. And that will do nothing more than expand the size of the economy, just as we actually need to reframe, rebuild, and reduce our understanding of what the economy means. So the same assumptions give us the same problematics, productivist outcomes. And we are working in a world where the volatility, the extremity, the extreme, sudden, unpredictable changes of what we face are going to require a way of learning so much more fluid, place-based, contextual, community-based, just in time than anything in the infrastructure and architecture of skills development that we currently have. We need knowledges, deep, new and old knowledges, as you heard from my colleague, and human chemistry, epigenetics. We have AI that will be skilling us out of business. So we need to be careful. And that leads me to the last point, language matters. Investing in skills is the climate commitment that counts. Nothing is the climate commitment that counts. We have been so obsessed with trying to apply our logical, mechanistic thinking to this problem, to try and work out what is the priority, the investment. We are talking about something that is so tangled and interdependent and messy. Of course we need skills, and we need infrastructure and labor reform and the institutions that carry them into a new way of thinking about ownership and stewardship. We need to invest in climate commitments trained on the relationships between things, the coordination of things, the joining of the dots, the integration of parts so that they become greater than the sum of the whole. Remember the parable of Icarus, a boy who constructed wings with his father's help and flew close to the sun and died. He didn't lack skills. He lacked the wisdom to use them.
That was beautiful.
Who knew that the Greeks from thousands of years ago would make two cameos at COP29?
That's right. That's right. Oh, that was beautiful. So much nuance and
Oh my gosh.
I think they all had one thing in common: courage. They certainly all our debaters demonstrate a huge amount of courage. Please, another applause for them. Now, we're only just warming up, right? Because now we have the moment of our juries coming to the podium, and they're going to share some reflection on what they heard. Remember, they are called juries, but they're not really judging anything because you, the audience, will be judging ultimately. But they're going to share some reflection and some provocation for the debaters to reflect on before the final retort. So I'm going to call to the stage, and before you come, I'm going to say all your names, and then you're going to come. Rebecca Shirley, Deputy Director for Africa World Resource Institute. Joshua Amponsem, Youth Climate Justice Fund co-founder. Menali Larking, Director of Global Environmental Sustainability at LinkedIn. And Hannah Akarinen, Executive Director of the TAH Foundation. Please join me in welcoming our jury to the stage.
Thank you so much, Sophie. Another round of applause for the debaters, please. Another round of applause. My name is Rebecca Shirley. I'm from the World Resources Institute based in Nairobi, Kenya. And I want to just say that it takes a lot of courage to do what the debaters have done on both sides, which is to come and put your convictions on the floor. I really, really appreciated this format, and thanks to the organizers. A few things I'll say because I don't have a lot of time. It's just that this conversation obviously could not be more pressing today. And I think actually we're all on the same page. We're all here at the COP and we're actually seeing some of the same things just in different ways. A few things for the foresight. I think an excellent way to begin, because you started to take the conversation away from the standard demand supply equation, the productivity equation, which is oftentimes how we consume information about green jobs. You heard the foresight moving into our humanity, the humanity of skills, inclusivity, and the need to leave no one behind. All of these are truths. The question perhaps I would have for the foresight is, number one, on our historic revolutions, the Industrial Revolution, the Digital Revolution, the AI revolution upon us now, did skills lead the revolutions, or were skills was the technology a pull factor that caused us to have to skill up in certain ways? So that's one question. Perhaps the second is, especially coming from the context of Africa, what do we do with skills on climate smart agriculture, perhaps without access to the markets and the infrastructure that allows us to deliver on those skills? So a few questions there. On the against side, I really appreciated the conviction that came to the stage. Thank you for bringing some unspoken truths to the space of a COP, where we can oftentimes get used to the language and the jargon. I appreciated so much hearing about issues of courage and political leadership that are actually at the core of what we're talking about. I loved the conversation on growth and the implicit conversation, therefore, about degrowth. I loved the conversation on community stewardship. And in particular, there was a thread of how we actually got here, where we are. And so for the against side, I really want to thank you for bringing those things to the table, constantly reminding us that if we are to move forward with sort of the same solutions that got us here, we may land ourselves in very similar problem spaces. My question for the against side, sorry, I'll just be a second, is how would you expect us, though, to move forward in a reality where we have millions of young people pouring onto the job market every year? And where do they go? And how do we actually green our economies and not just move into new green economies, but green our existing economies without the skills to do so? Those are my thoughts for the panelists.
Thank you, Rebecca. Wonderful. Joshua, 2.5 minutes.
Thank you. I am so amazed by these incredible people who offered to do this debate. It's just so powerful and so wonderful, and I'm convinced on both sides And for someone who did a TED Talk just 2 weeks ago, really talking about why we need skills. So I'm really happy that they came out so boldly. There are 3 or 4 things that I want to share. One of them is I really like the practicality that started the debate. We all come into every room with skills, knowledge, and experience, and that is our highest leverage. So that was very, very important. But we know that that alone would not get us far. And the reason for that is that, 70% of all educational programs in schools now is supporting the fossil fuel industry, which means that the more we push on that, the more we be channeling more workforce out that do not support the future that we see. They'll be supporting something that we do not want, which means the future that we have ahead of us is not just around developing the skills, but it's also what new skills are needed or what type of skills are needed. And I'll be very keen for those pushing for to come back on that. We need reformation, not just on the skills, but on the institution that need to deliver those skills. And I think that was very, very important. And I would like to hear more about that. Africa came up many times, and I love that, right? We know there's going to be 5 million jobs in the next few years, up until 2030, most of them in the transition to renewables, but most of those jobs are going to be skilled, which means it will require certification, and we have a lot of unskilled labor. But we also know that it's a continent that is full of informal economy. The informal economy employs 75% of all people. It is driving the continent. So how do we leverage that informal aspect of our continent? And I've seen people talk about the revolution or green revolution in Africa. And the reason why we get it wrong when we think that way is that you have smallholder farmers. They do not have several hectares of lands that can really provide and fit into the concept of industrial agriculture. How do we leverage from our strongest point? So for those who are advocating for against, I really want you to challenge the narrative of how do we leverage informal economies to do this? For those who are advocating against, I think one of my question is that we know that we need enabling environments, and enabling environments are very important, but we also know that enabling environments alone in isolation would also really empower those who are privileged. So I really want to go back to that point of someone creates an enabling environment, and whoever creates that, create it to support their agenda and what they want to push for. So for those who are pushing against, we need skills, but if we need enabling environment to make this work, what does that compose of, and how do we ensure that other people can feed into that? Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, Joshua. Melanie.
I love this format. I have been looking forward to this since Climate Week New York. Ephraim knows very well. I've been like, are we going to do this debate? Are we going to do this debate? Because I love it. It's very rare, I think, in these kinds of events for us to have the other side. A lot of times we become an echo chamber of people that agree with each other, maybe small places of disagreement. And I think this kind of format to debate our ideas is really important to help us make them better, to help us make them just more able to address the problems and the challenges that we're all facing. I think both sides brought some really great points, some key highlights. I really like the tie-ins with history on both sides. I hadn't really thought about the just overall importance of skills and bringing it to that level of, being able to start fires and that being kind of just a skill. I had never thought about it in those terms. So I really appreciate that. Also on the for side, I liked the highlight about Africa and that will be 25% of our workforce and how to address them. Agree with Joshua. I was going to ask also about the informal market and how we're going to bring these people in. And that's not just for the for side. I would also say for the against. How do we ensure that the people who are not currently, we don't have really data on the activities, on their needs, on trends, how do we bring them into this conversation? I loved also the against side talking about the importance of language and making sure that I think we have a broader view of what we're talking about when we're talking about green skills, who we're talking about. I like the tie-in with Indigenous people and our stewards, our guardians of the land. I think that is a huge piece that is important. I think for both sides, very important to remember that the global north is not a monolith. There are marginalized people in the global north, just like there are in the global south. People like me, Black descendants of enslaved people. We are together with the people in the global south, 68% of the global population, although we only hold 5% of global wealth. So I am very interested to hear how both sides would not just upskill, not just bring these green skills to populations, but how does that then translate to improving the wealth that these marginalized groups have?
Thank you, Melanie. That was wonderful. And right on time. Hannah.
Thank you so much for all the debaters. Amazing job. Well, there's not so much to add after all these jury members already giving their opinions, but I would like to raise a couple of, well, my background is in communications, so I kind of enjoyed a lot the way both sides made strong statements, used history examples, and made really strong arguments, and also kind of one-liners that were very easy to remember. And then especially maybe from the foresight, I wrote down several of them. But then against team made really strong moral arguments, kind of hard to argue arguments based on raising indigenous rights and global South perspectives that are extremely important. And maybe two tiny advices for the last round, maybe raising a bit more concrete examples, ways forward, or maybe some data if you have something in your mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the jury for bringing all of that wisdom and feedback. Debaters, you have your work cut out for you now. So here's what happens next. The debaters have to take all of that feedback and develop their closing arguments. They're already hard at work doing that right now. So they're gonna have 3 minutes to do that. And what I will do, and the clock is starting right now. For the rest of you, talk to the people next to you. Who made a really compelling argument? What did many of you all raised your hand saying you thought you were all in on skills? Maybe talk to your neighbor about if anyone changed your mind. We'll see you in a few minutes.
I would maybe add, imagine that you had to come back and argue for the final retort. What might you say? And again, remember that the motion is investing in skills is the climate commitment that counts. That's what we are debating. So talk among yourself.
10 seconds. Wrap it up. All right. All right. That's time. I gave him a 10-second warning. Yeah. Pencils down.
Pencils down. Talking about education, right? Okay.
All right. Are you ready,
Okay.
Sophie?
Okay, everyone, this is the 11th hour. Teams, are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
Shall we switch things around? Shall we start by the again side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
seems like a good idea.
Okay. All right. So the again side is going to go first. Psh. Debaters, we already have the audience wanting to speak to you, which is not part of our format, but maybe we'll try to make that happen. Anyway, so again side, who is going? Is it a group? I think you should all come to support your Dane. Yes. Great.
So before we start the timer, I'd like to really extend my thanks to this wonderful team up here and then to everyone in the audience for spending your time here. And let's go. Skills do not drive economies. Demand drives economies, and skills drive how supply is handled. When we only talk about skills, we're talking about the vehicle, not the destination or the path in getting there. And if you're only focused on the vehicle, you'll lose your way and never make it to that destination, that future of a green economy, of a sustainable world, of a world where human development and growth is prioritized alongside sustainability. Investing in only skills and putting the focus on skills as the solution ignores how investing in human development and infrastructure enables the localized application of green skills that can build upon pre-existing green economic activity. Sorry, I just got cut off there. An example was shared of civil engineers leaving Nigeria because there was not the economic infrastructure for them to apply their skills in their local community. And now they work in oil and gas in the UK. Those skills could be used in their community. Those are the people that care if the water is clean, they care if the air is clean, and they care if their skills go towards that. Thank you.
Woo! Well done. You stay there. All right, 1 second, we reset the clock. Go.
Over the past 2 months, I've been to South Africa twice. I visited the Komati power plant that was being closed. The workers were fundamentally opposed to this to start with, but then they were trained to become solar panelists, installers, welders, and even train in aquaponics. And now they do want the change and they are ready for the future. So this is about reforming the skills agenda. This is about bringing the right skills to bear. This is about giving a voice to the people who matter. So let us listen to our indigenous peoples and local communities, bring their skills to bear in a wider context in the world. This is not one-way traffic. This is two-way learning that we have to have. If you have talent, but you have no skill, you cannot apply it. So we want to take the talent of the world, harness it, and point it in the right direction.
We're facing an existential threat, much like the biblical Noah flood. It's time to build the ark where we all know which role or which rope to pull and know which sail to set. We need to do this while we still can, and that's precisely why it's an investment. The flood is coming, and unlike stocks and real estate, we either live to see the returns through climate action or not make it out at all. I hope we choose the latter.
Woo! Well done.
Wow.
They managed to squeeze 3 people on your side. That's pretty good.
Wow.
Look at
Well
all-
done, everybody.
Oh, that's,
You guys,
you see, that's nice.
now they're all hugging. This is great.
All right, moment of truth. All right.
Stay up here, debaters. Stay up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay up here,
So
debaters.
you remember, I'm remind you again that keep your own opinion and your own bias behind. And at this stage, we're going to ask you to vote for the team that has been the most compelling, creative in the way they've argued their case. All right. So as a reminder, that was the for team, and that was the against team. So if you thought that the for team was the most compelling, clap now. I couldn't hear anything because they were clapping so loud. Okay. If you think the against team was the most compelling, clap now.
Sounds like you guys changed some hearts and minds along the way.
Hold
Wow.
on, hold on. I think there is some double counting in this, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
Shall we do this again?
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
For the for team. And for the against team. Well, I hope you won't be upset, Ephraim.
I think we have a clear winner.
I think we have a winner. Please, to the winners.
Yeah, well done. Now, we've done the debate part. We still have the space, the room outside. But at LinkedIn, one of the things we always say is that relationships matter. And I know for me, even from the very moment I showed up at COP, I was running into people I've only ever engaged with online. And getting to actually spend time with real people talking about real topics is something that's really special. There's something that happens when you're around people in person. You can spark new ideas. And I hope a conversation like this one gets everybody thinking about new ways to solve old problems, helps refine the ways that we're all going to work together to move forward on this climate agenda. There are a lot of nuanced perspectives that we all brought. I think a format like this, these conversations, we're over a week now into COP, really help bring out all of that tension, but also provide us a way for us to get to know one another and build trust across cultures, geographies, professions, fields. And that's going to be how we're going to work together to make real progress on climate action.
Thank you, Ephraim. And I want to thank you all again for enabling this debate to happen, LinkedIn, and thank you, Nigar, for bringing this format into your program. We're very, very grateful.
And we should know this is the first ever official debate at COP on the first ever official Human Development Day. So that to me is that's just something special that we were able to be a part of this experience.
And it's quite remarkable how the room switch, isn't it? Because it's often the case that the harder sides has to dig quite deep, and what usually is the common thread in what works very well is they brought emotions, they brought their heart into the debate, and that's what usually swings audiences. So I think a lot of interesting angles have been revealed with that process. Obviously, we all agree that skills are super important and need to be invested in. But I hope you will leave this session with a deeper understanding of what it would take to do this right. So please, a final round of applause for our incredible debaters and our wonderful jury members. And thank you. Thank you to the audience. Many of you have left your mobile aside, for which we're very grateful. And as Ephraim said, the conversation will continue outside. I know there are some pressing questions that people want to engage with the debaters on. So please join us outside to continue this conversation. Thank you again.
Hey, man. Thank you. Thank you. So we're gonna take a quick picture. Can you take a quick picture with everybody? Happy to chat with folks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to take a picture? Yeah. Yeah.